What's up, everybody? Moses here with another Wolcen video for you guys, and today we're going to talk about this place right here. This is your Stormfall Palace, and from here you control over the projects. And I'm going to talk about like each and every one of these little, hexagons, and we can explain a little bit what this thing is all about. So first, when you first finish the story and you go into Stormfall champion mode or soldier of fortune, whatever that thing's called, essentially adventure mode, and you can start doing expeditions, you'll see that you enter this and you can start making projects happen. Projects will give you certain rewards after you're done completing the project, right? So you have a base turn productivity that will increase as you create more and more projects to increase it. And every turn you'll apply that amount of productivity multiplied by the bonuses you're going to be getting from your expeditions um, or your mandates. Um, and it will apply to the projects. Eventually you'll finish the progress requirement. For example, this one requires 5,000. Currently I have 2,500. And when it's done, I'm going to get increased item quality. Okay, when this is done, increase reagent rarity. We're going to talk about these, but yeah, at first you're going to have to choose from the Stormfall Palace your productivity upgrades and your quest and your project upgrades. Early on, you're only going to be able to have 2 active projects at the same time, and later on, you're going to be able to upgrade it to 5. 5 is the maximum number, and you do that from the Stormfall Palace. All right, productivity quests increase in gold. All right, they give you more and more productivity gradually, but they also increase in price. So you always need to have one of these in the background. As you see, I've completed almost all of them. The 2 that I'm missing are the 2 million gold ones and the 5 million gold ones. I did do the 1 million gold, just finished it, raised my basic productivity to 790 per turn, and the plus 50 here is we're going to talk about in a second. So yeah, currently saving up, I got 660,000 gold. We need 2 million for the last, for the one before last productivity, and you see it gives us 570 productivity bonus, or no, I guess not. I guess
I
that's
know
the
you
current
have a
bonus.
lot on your
Yeah, okay,
mind.
so I guess this is the current bonus
Please
that we're
feel
getting
free to share it
from
with the
the,
rest of us.
that's being added to our total productivity. And yeah, we got some base value. But the thing is, you need to do these, and they will increase this number right here, which will apply productivity every turn, allowing you to complete quests quickly. Here, you will unlock stash tabs. Early on, you can get this one for free. This one costs you 20,000 gold, and then 3, 4, and 5 you're going to need to unlock. I've only unlocked the third one so far, but you can unlock the rest. This one is 100,000 gold, this one 200,000 gold, fairly menial cost at this point in the game. This thing allows you to unlock the 4th form of your aspect of Apocalypse. Not particularly useful, but I did it anyways. Over here, Dark Market, we're going to talk about pretty big thing here. Cartographer Archives allows your, this is a very important one. This reduces the cost at merchants, which also includes, gem slotting and all that stuff that involves that, and the cost and how much they give you for your merchandise. When you come back, you vendor all your inventory right to the vendor for gold. So this will increase the gold you're getting and decrease the gold you're paying. Uh, Kind of an important quest. Try and get it early on because it's great. Over here, you're getting a permanently gold fine bonus. I'm not entirely sure what that is. Over here, you're getting a permanent magic fine bonus. If we look over here, actually, I may be able to find out. So yeah, I believe your gold find is not listed here, but the magic find is 20% and you're always getting it. You get gold pickup and health glow pickup radius, but you're not getting the gold find bonus. But it exists because we did it, and I'm sure we're dropping more gold. Haven't been paying attention too much to that because it's only 100,000 gold and it's not all that much anyways. But I've done this quest and I now have it, as well as this 1 million gold. This quest or project took like 5 days to accomplish, and I've only finished it. It's 100,000 productivity. I don't know how much it's worth for you guys. I don't know if I would do it again. You know, but you know, hey, I did it for science for you guys. Ships. Once this becomes available, it's 100,000 gold. You can start. Okay, let's talk about this in a second. Seeker's Garrison. Okay, Seeker's Garrison are essentially quests. You send fake invisible minions to travel the world and gather stuff for you. You invest in the expedition. Seeker's Garrison. You invest in the expedition, and then they come back once the productivity is completed. You see each one has like a different one: 620, 1240, 1860. And this is the potential outcome. They may come back with a heavy armor. They may come back with a set of random weapons. Could be uniques. Happened before. You may come back with some gold. Early on, these are kind of nice because they're easy, which means they will always come back with more gold than you invested, nearly always. Medium ones are also fairly easy to accomplish. They will most likely come back. The hard one, a little less likely. They cost a little bit more. Rewards are higher. For example, just now I had, you know, people coming in from the Red Wastes with a set of, I think it was weapons, just an assortment of weapons that each is worth like, I don't know, 1,500, 2,000 gold. And then when the cost is 11k, but you're getting 15k gold and a set of weapons, it adds up to be maybe 30k gold in return. So you end up earning 20k. When you don't have, later on, when you don't have anything better to do, use these quests. Another thing that is important in here, sometimes shows up the quest retrieve legendary ethereal reagents. So you can send them on a mission that will allow you to bring back some greater entropy orbs, some greater Reagent tears, or some greater ohms echoes, or abyssal tears. This is how I got these. These are incredibly rare. I've had a lot of these legendary ones, but I've been doing a lot of crafting, so I don't have any more at this point. Yeah, so this is the Seeker's Garrison. You should always have a little something happening over here every time you go out to the dungeon, and always make sure to have 5 out of 5 available quests because before you go to the next dungeon. You don't want to have idle potential things that could happen, and you're not using up all your productivity to its fullest potential. Second thing, well, another thing is these two. Sometimes you have too much gold and you want to convert to some affinity because you're stuck. Sometimes you have too much affinity, and you can choose this here: 10k for 100,000 gold, or 100,000 gold for 10k cost of affinity. When you're short on gold, you can do that. When you're short on, you get the point. Shipyard will allow you to ships to become available, and when ships become available, then these become available. Diplomats, you send them out to all sorts of places, and they come back with, you know, large quantity of gold for an investment of 21k. This temporary productivity boost, this is what you see right here, 50% additional productivity boost, which is very strong for only 20k gold. I usually pick it up when it's available. And then this, not too much. They come back with primordial affinity. You invest 200, they come back with like 800 or 1k. You know, definitely worthwhile in terms of the return, but because it's such low quantity, I wouldn't waste a project slot for it. You only have 5 per turn. Kingdom of Varg here, large quantity of gold, 20 invested, and roughly 80 comes back when they do come back. A lot of the times they don't come back. Another potential outcome is that they come back, but instead of giving you gold, they give you an assortment of gear, some other things, primordial affinity sometimes, half of the quantity of gold. They somehow manage to salvage something and they come back. So not all the time you lose, not all the time they come empty-handed, or not coming back at all. Sometimes they don't come back, and you know, you just lost 20,000 gold. Happened a lot to me. But essentially it's RNG. Over here, the big quests I will look for.
Patience is one of the most valuable traits of
I mean,
leaders.
I guess the temporary
Even
productivity
so,
boosts.
perhaps we should
These
not
are like the
test them.
most valuable ones here. And sometimes the large quantities of gold and primordial affinity, sometimes they come back with a bunch. For example, just now, before I started the video, I opened this and 3 quests returned. One of them
There you
was
are.
primordial affinity and gold.
Our
I got like
diplomats are
50k
becoming
and 10k
restless. Perhaps you
gold
have
and
a mission
primordial
for them.
affinity. But you know, sometimes it happens, sometimes you fail. Now, couple of big things here.
What?
We got transmute
Yes,
items. I
yes.
haven't used that. I don't know what it's doing. This is not a big
I
thing.
wasn't sleeping.
This
Well,
right
not
here
sleeping.
is the next big thing.
Of course.
Okay, so
That's what you live
here
for, isn't
this
it?
is
I'll get
increasing
ready.
reagent rarity. Reagent rarity costs you 30,000 gold and making you know, a greater an entropy orb, a greater entropy orb, a tier, a greater tier, right? So the legendary version of the crafting material, this is what it does. It takes 20,000 productivity and it's a lot. Okay, it's not going to be you know, you're not going to be generating orbs, greater orbs, willy-nilly. This is why you need to increase your productivity as much as you can to be able to generate these quickly and to be able to generate the rest of the things that happen here quickly. Because essentially, the more runs you do, the more you generate, but the more productivity, the more you generate as well. So you can run a lot, right? You need to balance with like you can run a lot of expeditions and you'll gain productivity, but if that productivity value is small, then you won't be able to complete your quest. And this one is incredible. In the last
If there
three,
is
4 days,
nothing,
I
may I
must have
return to my
generated
other
maybe
customers?
20 Arabian tiers, greater ones, maybe 17, because I do spend a lot of time and productivity at this point is fairly high, and I get these productivity boosts. So this is a very, very, very strong quest to go for. Increased item quality. I'm currently checking what it's doing. I don't really remember which one is the one that I'm using, but as you see, there's a little clock. You never cancel projects, by the way. Very important lesson, guys. Never cancel your projects. You're not getting the stuff you put in back, okay? So if I press the cancel button, there's no question, are you sure you want to cancel? No, it just immediately cancels it,
It is a
okay? And
beautiful day,
you
don't you
lose
think?
whether you put an
Maybe
item, the
we
item is
could
gone,
complete our
whether you
business
put
and enjoy
gold in,
it.
affinity,
What do you
whatever it is
say?
that you invested, it is gone, okay? So don't cancel projects. But yeah, increase item quantity, quality. Currently, I'm checking what it's actually doing. I think it just adds stars, but people told me that it makes items roll higher. Um, okay, so what I have right now over here is a legendary weapon that I put in that rolled like 855 maximum damage. I believe it was 505 to 855, right? 500 to 855 weapon damage or something like that. And people told me that increased item quality will make these damage numbers roll higher within their brackets. So you see, I got like Toxic Lightning and Aether. If I put it, it will increase these numbers, hence increasing the weapon damage. And this weapon that I put here is fairly solid. If it gets
It
higher
is a
rolls,
beautiful
it
day,
could be
don't you
very
think?
good. You know, I'm not
Maybe
entirely
we could
sure.
complete our
Um,
business and enjoy it.
yes, Mojave, I know.
What do
Uh,
you say?
Give me a second here. They're talking. Let's get the dialogue volume muted for a second. Okay, so not this guy, this guy, dark market. So increasing the item quality, that's one thing. This here produces an ethereal reagent for 2,000 productivity, which means essentially for me, 2 quick runs to the dungeon, 2 back and forths. I'm going to get a random crafting material, and not only that, they giving you the option to choose between 2 crafting materials. Okay, so most of the times you'll get, this is how I got most of my Ohm's Echoes. Most of the time you'll get an Ohm's Echo and a greater and an entropy orb. But some of the times you'll be able to choose between, you know, a greater Arabian tier or an Arabian tier, or you know, other things. All the available crafting reagents essentially, right? So you definitely want that. It's very cheap, 10,000 gold. and it's very quick. Most of the time, low crafting materials, but it's always worth to have one of these happening always in the background. Okay, another one is increased reagent rarity. I don't know if I talked about it, but I think I did. 30,000 gold. You can put, an exalted orb, and it will make it a greater one, or greater entropy orb, greater echo. Anything that you're missing, you can put in over there. It takes a little bit long, but it's definitely worth doing in the background because 30,000 gold is not a big price to pay. Now here, right here, I left the best for last. This is by far the best project you can do. Okay, it's also one of the most expensive ones if you're not considering the gold bonus or the magic find bonus or all those things, and the productivity quests that are pretty expensive. The increased item rarity. Now currently it's bugged. It makes, if you put here unique items, a lot of people know this and a lot of people doing this, it brings you back. I haven't done it because I consider it to be, abuse of something that's most likely bugged. I don't think unique items can be used here because unique items are the most rare items in the game. They have the highest rarity, and they have a set number of properties. I don't think they should be here. But what happens if you put it here? Basically, it creates the same unique with additional 6 stats. So it makes like a 12 shopping list of item, 12 stats on the items, like a huge shopping list of stats that's being added to a character. Very, very likely this is not the intention of the developers. Very likely it is an exploit, and very likely it's a bug. So I'm not doing that, but whatever. So what I am doing, and what I believe is in fact intended, is turning, this is kind of like your best way of crafting with a random result. Okay, let's talk about this. So increased item rarity, and this is why I have these 2 rare items here, will allow you to turn a rare into a legendary. Okay, I'm going to show you this ring right here. This ring used to be a rare that I crafted. It's eye level 188. I found in one of the dungeons. It used to be, a ring with lightning damage, 2 attacks, 2,000 life, material damage, and 30 crit damage. Alright? That's all this ring had. I put it in here. It was a substantial amount of gold. I waited a substantial amount of time. It's not 500, it's more. If you put this thing here, it shows you the real costs and the real productivity requirement, right? And when it comes back, when you start project, I'm not going to do it with this pistol, but when it comes back, it came back for me with material resistance score and 35 to all resistance score, and became a godly ring. All right, so this is one, and I believe the idea of the developers was, you see a rare item that is solid, that has potential, that has 3 or 4 stats, you can make it into a legendary and get yourself a really good item, or it will just roll some random other stats that are not very useful for you, right? But the investment is fairly high, as you can see, and this is why I've been generating some affinity with create, with using 100,000 gold to create affinity, or 500,000 gold to create 50,000 affinity, in order to do these quests in the dark, these projects in the dark market. Now, why am I showing you this pistol? This is a pistol that I literally just now dropped. It allows the bearer to cast Winter's Grasp, so you can have yourself a shield wearing or wielding character with a pistol. I just came back from an Untainted expedition, and this thing dropped. Now, if you look at it, it has crit damage, it has physical damage, and it allows the bearer to cast Winter's Grasp. All I need, okay, it's kind of a tall order, but all I need is essentially to make this into a legendary, and then when it rolls a legendary, legendaries can roll either 5 or 6 affixes, right? When it rolls into a legendary, it can choose between 5 or 6. If it chooses 6, it then rolls 3 random stats to fill in for the other 3. It keeps the existing rolls, but it rolls additional 3 stats. All I need for this to be insane is to roll a couple damage number rolls, 2 out of the potential 3 that can roll, right? So if, for example, just the sake of hypothesis, I get rend damage, toxic damage, right, as the first 2 stats, and then the third stat says increased material damage on this weapon, right? I can get this insanity pistol with like 1k DPS that also allows the bearer to cast Winter's Grasp. Now, again, this is pretty unlikely, but it's not particularly unlikely to even get 1 damage mod and maybe some other useful thing, and all of a sudden you can have like a solid weapon that can carry you around, expedition levels up to 120, 130 even, with a fairly solid stat that allows you to cast Winter's Grasp. And Winter's Grasp is a very useful skill with many, many utilities that you can incorporate in a build that cannot, use spells if you want, for example, to use a pistol and a shield for the defensive stats, right? So this kind of like enables a weapon or an item that you normally would be like, oh, this is nice, but damage too low, can't really use it. So this kind of enables you to take an item with potential and make it insane, and I believe this is the best way of crafting items in this game currently. Another thing, and this is one thing that I already did, I'm going to show you a result of what just happened. Not too many expeditions ago, I found a weapon right here. This is a very, very high potential weapon because it's an axe. It's got some attack speed. It's got some crit chance. That's not the big deal. The big deal is that it has fairly well rolled 2 damage stats, toxic and frost, over here, right? So all I need is for this to roll a legendary, increase item rarity. I can put this thing here. It costs same amount. By the way, the eye level depends on how much it costs, not anything else. So this here costs the same amount of gold and affinity. All I need is for this to roll a 3rd stat of damage, and all of a sudden this weapon is kind of great, right? If I roll rend damage, fire damage, lightning damage, sacred, shadow, or aether, any kind of flat added damage, I can get a fairly solid weapon. Like imagine, 120 to minimum damage to 200 maximum damage. All of a sudden you have yourself a 500-ish to an 800-ish weapon, or 700-ish, sorry. 500 to 800 weapon damage weapon that you can then enhance with, gems, add more flat damage to it, and that is great. Another thing that I did is increase item quality. Like I said, I just made a weapon legendary that actually rolled a 3rd damage stat, and I'm trying now to see if increased item quality in fact increases the rolls of the damage numbers. If it does, it will increase the damage numbers quite substantially and will make for a much better damage output with a weapon like this, and then I can use it on my current weapon and maybe optimize it a little bit more. This is another result of something that I did right here. This weapon right here. Very, very solid weapon. Started out with 3 stats. I then made it a legendary. It rolled the 3rd damage roll and then some attack speed and life leech. This had just 3 stats. Attack, crit chance, toxic, and aether, maybe 2 of the 3 damage numbers. It rolled 2 damage numbers and then attack speed or crit. So 3 stats originally, made it into a 6-stat weapon, and as you can see, it's fairly sick right now. You can absolutely, it's almost an upgrade for me. If quality is a thing and you can actually increase the damage numbers, like you can see my tooltip right now, it says 32992, and this is 32845. 9. So from 992 to 849, we're talking about 150 damage difference between these two weapons. So you can see it is very close, very, very close to mine in terms of damage. It's quite insane, and I got it through the dark market, turning an item into a legend. So I'm sharing this with you. I left this for last because this is really the most incredible one. I do have other things here. For example, sacred damage to spells, crit damage, all attribute, and maximum health amulet. Could potentially turn that into a legendary. Over here, I got max health, lightning damage to spells, material resistance score, and spellcast speed. Right? Could potentially turn that into a legendary. So I always kind of like keep here. We got big all resist, nice health roll, and rage cost reduction, right? If this, for example, and attack speed, if this, for example, get like ferocity or toughness, and let's say crit chance or additional resist multiplied on this item, this can be a quite insane. Like even look at my gloves, for example, right now. Right? Material damage is something that I have on my gloves, but my gloves don't have any health. So this thing already has 1.1k health. This could be an upgrade for me, quite an immediate upgrade, because it has the same rage cost and willpower cost reduction, but it doesn't have the ferocity and the crit. It does have attack speed. So if I roll ferocity and crit as two random mods that this item can have, or just ferocity, without the crit, since my crit is pretty high, I can give up a 95 crit roll, then I can use this and gain 1000 more life. So you see the potential here. You can then upgrade your current rares into, this is something, another thing that I'm planning on doing, you know, this belt, these shoulders, I can turn into legendaries. But again, this process is like 20,000, what was it, increased item rarity. It's like 12.6k productivity. It's kind of a lot, so it takes a lot of runs. Eventually the item comes back, well, it's always better because it always adds additional stats, but not always exactly what you were looking for. So yeah, this is this system. As you're running, make sure to keep your quests, keep your productivity projects full. This was like a full guide on the Stormfall Palace, talking about all these projects and their potential. Dark market will unlock, and you start unlocking. Not all the things are available. The way that it works is you're going to need to unlock stuff. Like things will be locked, and then you'll need to unlock them by investing gold that enables a certain project to even start operating. But once you have ships, you can create this, and then you start unlocking more and more things, and then the dark market becomes a lot more available, and you'll have all these quests that you can start working towards. Increase your productivity. That's the most important part. Just try and complete as many of these as possible based on how much you play and how much gold you can invest, and then always make sure that you can get the legendary crafting materials through here. When you do have this quest, always do it, and here whatever is available for you, try it out. But mostly dark market right now in the very end game, with all its utilities that I just explained. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Again, if you like the video, subscribe, make some comments. If you have any questions, always drop by. I'm streaming. We're going to be playing a lot of Wolcen. A second build is coming soon. Bleeding Edge is living out its playtime, I believe, and very, very soon we're going to probably reach level 80. It actually takes a long time. Yesterday I played 12 hours and it was like 78.8 when I first started the stream, and then 13 hours of stream. Here we are, roughly 60%. So yeah, this was it for me for today. We're going to be doing a little bit more grinding Bleeding Edge very soon. I'm going to start a new build. Hope to see you guys on the stream. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hop in on the Twitch. Throw me your Twitch Prime. I do appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one.